GMNA uses artificial intelligence for generated speech, visuals, and production. AI-generated content may contain errors. Please verify important information before making decisions or taking action. Live from the GMNA News Center, this is the Lunch Break News Hour.
Good afternoon, I'm Jordan Parker. This hour will cover the tragic Scarborough apartment fire, a heavy TTC Line 1 closure slowing downtown traffic, and the Maple Leafs' new performance VP. Stay tuned for the latest on the Blue Jays' moves. Over to you, Nathan.
The Toronto Street Food Festival returns to Harbourfront Centre this Saturday, offering more than 50 local vendors serving global cuisines, with free entry for all ages.
Live music stages will feature 6 local bands performing from noon until dusk, including jazz, indie, and world rhythms, encouraging community dancing throughout the waterfront.
Family-friendly activities include a cooking demonstration by a renowned Toronto chef, a kids' craft zone, and a sustainable cooking workshop scheduled for early afternoon.
We've got plenty ahead, so stay tuned, lots to get to, and now it's time to begin our midday conversation. Here are our top stories.
Fire broke out this morning at a Scarborough apartment near Nielsen Road and McLevin Avenue, killing one resident. Toronto paramedics responded to the blaze. Dev Showri has the full story.
Fire erupted early Tuesday morning in a multi-unit building on the corner of Nielsen Road and McLevin Avenue, sending thick black smoke billowing over the Scarborough streets. Toronto paramedics and fire crews arrived within minutes, battling flames that quickly engulfed the second floor. Residents were evacuated as firefighters worked to contain the blaze and search for anyone trapped inside. Tragically, one occupant was found deceased after the fire was brought under control. The cause of the fire is still under investigation, and officials are urging anyone with information to come forward. Emergency services remain on scene to complete safety checks and assist displaced families. Dev Showri, GMNA News, Nielsen Road.
Toronto police are searching for a male suspect linked to an alleged assault early on June 28 at a downtown nightclub on Queen Street West and Peter Street. Dev Showri has the full story.
Police are canvassing the downtown area for a male suspect linked to an alleged assault that unfolded in the early morning hours of June 28, 2026. The incident took place inside a nightclub situated at the corner of Queen Street West and Peter Street. Officers say the victim was attacked shortly after the venue's doors closed, and investigators are now reviewing surveillance footage and speaking with patrons who were present. Anyone with information about the individual's identity or whereabouts has been urged to contact authorities. Detectives are also checking nearby establishments for additional camera angles and have deployed uniformed officers to patrol the block. The search remains active as detectives piece together the timeline and seek to locate the person responsible. Dev Showri, GMNA News, Queen West.
Thursday morning, a fire erupted in an apartment unit of a high-rise at Ontario Street and St. James Avenue, injuring 4 people, 2 children, prompting police and fire crews to respond. Simon Okonkwo has the full story.
Fire erupted in an upper-floor apartment of a downtown high-rise at the corner of Ontario Street and St. James Avenue just after 3 a.m., sending thick smoke curling over the street. Toronto police and fire crews arrived within minutes, battling the blaze while evacuating residents. 4 people were pulled from the building with injuries, including 2 children who suffered smoke inhalation. Paramedics treated the victims on site before transporting them to nearby hospitals. The fire was contained after roughly an hour, and fire engines and ladder trucks remained on scene through the morning as investigators secured the area and began gathering evidence. No further casualties have been reported. Simon Okonkwo, GMNA News, St. James.
2 Greater Toronto Area women were killed after their car collided with a parked tractor-trailer on Highway 401 near Gananoque. The Ontario Provincial Police are investigating the crash. Dev Showri has the full story.
2 women from the Greater Toronto Area lost their lives early Tuesday when their car collided with a tractor-trailer that was stopped on the shoulder of Highway 401 near Gananoque. Police say the driver failed to see the parked rig and struck it head-on, sending both vehicles into spin before the car came to rest in the median. The Ontario Provincial Police opened an investigation on the scene, noting the crash occurred on one of Eastern Ontario's busiest east-west routes. Emergency crews arrived quickly, but both occupants of the passenger vehicle were pronounced dead at the hospital. The incident joins a series of recent highway collisions. Dev Showri, GMNA News, Gananoque.
Toronto native Evan Gold has been named general manager of the Hamilton Hammers, the AHL affiliate of the New York Islanders, effective immediately. Dev Showri has the full story.
Evan Gold, a native of Toronto, has been appointed general manager of the Hamilton Hammers, the American Hockey League affiliate of the New York Islanders. The hiring was announced on August 3, 2026, as the club looks to strengthen its front office ahead of the upcoming season. Gold joins the Hammers after a stint with the Islanders organization, where he worked in scouting and player development. The move signals a direct link between the Islanders and their AHL partner, giving Hamilton a front office leader familiar with the parent club's philosophy. Fans can expect Gold to oversee roster construction, coaching appointments, and day-to-day operations as the Hammers prepare for their next campaign. Dev Showri, GMNA News, Hamilton.
Later we'll break down the Leafs' new VP of Sport Performance, Andy O'Brien, and what it means for the team. We will be right back. Every day, important stories happen across the city before any news crew arrives. Sometimes the very first person at the story is you. When you witness something newsworthy, open the GMNA Citizen Reporter app and start your report. The app guides you through every step while your report is delivered directly to the GMNA newsroom. Every submission is reviewed by our editorial team, and approved reports may be featured on GMNA. Get the GMNA Citizen Reporter app today at my.gmna.ca. Your city, your news.
Welcome back. Toronto Maple Leafs have named Andy O'Brien as Vice President of Sport Performance, adding an executive to steer player training and performance initiatives. Ainsley Booth has the full story.
Maple Leafs announced today that Andy O'Brien has been named Vice President of Sport Performance, joining the club's front office to direct player development, conditioning, and analytics. O'Brien arrives from a background in high-performance sport, most recently serving as Director of Performance at a major European hockey organization, where he oversaw training protocols and injury prevention programs. The team said his mandate will include integrating sports science across the roster, coordinating with coaches and medical staff, and refining the data-driven approach that drives on-ice results. The appointment comes as Toronto prepares for the upcoming season in the near term, with O'Brien expected to report directly to the general manager. Ainsley Booth, GMNA News, Toronto.
Toronto Blue Jays have added starting pitchers Jose Soriano and Spencer Arrighetti, while sending outfielder Dalton Varsho and reliever Jeff Hoffman to other clubs, a roster shakeup announced by GM Ross Atkins. Ainsley Booth has the full story.
Toronto's front office made 2 pitching additions and sent out an outfielder and a reliever as the July deadline closed. General Manager Ross Atkins confirmed the Blue Jays brought in right-hander Jose Soriano and left-hander Spencer Arrighetti, both slated for the starting rotation. In return, outfielder Dalton Varsho and right-handed reliever Jeff Hoffman headed to new clubs. Atkins said the swaps are meant to give the squad a boost after a season that fell short of a World Series berth. The moves come as Toronto reshapes its roster, hoping the fresh arms can steady a struggling rotation and add depth for the stretch run. The transaction was finalized on Tuesday, the final day of the MLB trade window, sealing the roster shake-up. Ainsley Booth, GMNA News, Toronto.
Kevin Gausman has been traded from the Toronto Blue Jays to the Chicago Cubs for outfielder Brett Bateman and infielder Ty Southaysene, giving Chicago a veteran arm and Toronto 2 young prospects. Ainsley Booth has the full story.
Kevin Gausman, the veteran right-handed starter, is heading to the Chicago Cubs as the Toronto Blue Jays finalize a player exchange. In return, the Jays receive outfielder Brett Bateman and infielder Ty Southaysene, both regarded as young prospects. The deal was announced at the Blue Jays front office earlier today, with Gausman set to join the Cubs' rotation and make his debut at Wrigley Field later this month. Bateman, a left-handed hitter from the minor league system, and South Acine, a versatile infielder, will report to the Jays' spring training camp to compete for roster spots. The trade adds depth to Toronto's farm system, while Chicago looks to bolster its pitching staff. Ainsley Booth, GMNA News, Toronto.
Construction of new multiplex housing in Toronto's Dovercourt neighborhood is reducing street parking for nearby residents as the city's push for higher density development tightens available spaces. Simon Okonkwo has the full story.
Construction crews are busy erecting new multiplex units along Dovercourt Road, and the surge of concrete and equipment is squeezing the few on-street parking spots that neighbors have relied on for years. Residents are finding their usual curb spaces occupied by construction trucks and material deliveries, and several have reported having to park farther away or risk tickets. The city's push for higher density housing aims to add dozens of new homes to the area, but the immediate impact is a tighter parking supply for the community. Officials say the development is part of a broader plan to address Toronto's housing shortage, though the short-term inconvenience is already being felt on the ground. Simon Okonkwo, GMNA News, Dovercourt.
Toronto police say a 29-year-old man was fatally struck by a pickup truck in the Downsview Park parking lot on Friday. Investigators are now reviewing the incident. Dev Showri has the full story.
Police say a 29-year-old man was struck and killed by a pickup truck in the parking lot of Downsview Park Friday night. Officers arrived to find the victim on the asphalt beside several parked cars, with the truck still in the vicinity. Witnesses told investigators the vehicle entered the lot at a high rate of speed, failed to stop, and collided with the man walking near his car. The Toronto Police Service has opened a criminal investigation, canvassing the area for video footage and speaking with anyone who may have seen the truck. No arrests have been made as detectives continue to piece together the sequence of events. Dev Showri, GMNA News, Downsview.
Now let's turn to the forecast and see what the skies have in store.
A weak ridge over the Great Lakes is seeding to a wavy jet, setting today's clear, mild spell. On this date, the all-time high reached 32.8 degrees Celsius back in 2005, a blistering spike that rode the tail end of a regional heat wave. The all-time low fell to 14.5 degrees Celsius in 2013, when an Arctic dip punched a cold snap through the province. By contrast, the climatological average for August 4th hovers around 25 degrees high and 15 degrees low. So today's 21-degree reading sits comfortably between the extremes. The live radar shows a blank canvas across southern Ontario, no echoes from the west or the lake. With a weak ridge anchored over the region and the jet stream sliding gently from the west, moisture is being siphoned northward, leaving the air mass dry and stable. Pressure is near average and beginning to slip, but that alone isn't enough to generate lift. With the sky clear, we can now shift to today's thermal outlook. At noon, the city sits under a clear sky with 21 degrees Celsius, and a gentle southwest breeze of 2 kilometers per hour, gusting to 14. Humidity rests at 68% and the dew point holds at 15, keeping the air comfortably moist. A near-average pressure system is beginning to drift lower, allowing the wavy jet aloft at 390 kilometers altitude to usher modest mid-level lift without forcing precipitation. The sun climbs toward a high of 24 degrees this afternoon, then eases to 22 by evening with sunset at 8:37 p.m. UV index sits at 8 and wind remains under 25 kilometers per hour from the southeast. No alerts are active. With the atmosphere staying tranquil, let's glance at the 5-day trend. Looking ahead, Wednesday brings a clear dome with a high of 26 degrees and a low of 17 as the ridge that dominates today extends eastward. Thursday, the jet dips south, pulling a moist airstream that raises cloud cover to overcast and a 30% chance of rain. Temperatures climb to 27 with a low near 19. Friday, the pattern tightens, the jet intensifies and the system deepens, pushing rain probability to 40% while the high eases to 24 and the low holds at 20, keeping the night warm. Saturday, the upper flow re-straightens, shedding most clouds and delivering a dry spell with a high of 28 and a low of 20. Sunday ends the stretch with clear skies, a high of 25 and a low of 19, a pleasant weekend finish. And that's your weather. Remember, the lunch break is also available as a podcast. Listen anytime on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts.
Traffic's still snarled and the deadline trades are shaking up the Blue Jays. Plus what's on today, we will be right back. Every day, important stories happen across the city before any news crew arrives. Sometimes the very first person at the story is you. When you witness something newsworthy, open the GMNA Citizen Reporter app and start your report. The app guides you through every step while your report is delivered directly to the GMNA newsroom. Every submission is reviewed by our editorial team, and approved reports may be featured on GMNA. Get the GMNA Citizen Reporter app today at my.gmna.ca. Your city, your news.
The biggest story this morning is the full closure of the Yonge University subway line. Trains are halted between Finch and Union, and shuttle buses are running every 10 minutes along Yonge Street. Expect an additional 15 to 20 minutes on the bus, especially during peak. On the roadside, heavy traffic is building near the RBC Amphitheater at Ontario Place. Vehicles are backing up on the Lakeshore Road and the connecting access ramps. Further east, Lakeshore Boulevard near Ontario Place is moving at a crawl, adding another 10 minutes to east-west trips. The Gardiner and the 401 remain clear, so commuters heading downtown can still use those routes without delay. For those heading west, consider the Don Valley Parkway as an alternative, but keep an eye on any developing congestion. Overall, plan for longer travel times this morning and adjust routes where possible.
The biggest buzz today is the final day Velt Vibe at Downsview Park. The 3-day EDM festival is winding down, and the outfit game is turning heads, so grab a bold look before the beats fade. If you're still chasing the long weekend energy, check out the 6 Velt and Caravana after-parties scattered across the city. They're keeping the dance floor alive well past the civic holiday. And for a taste of summer, Toronto's free tomato and wine party is popping up now, a laid-back gathering where fresh-picked tomatoes meet local vines, perfect for a quick sip and snack before you head out. All 3 are happening right now, giving you music, movement, and a bite of seasonal flavor before the weekend closes. And now here's Marcus with sports.
Trade twists a homer hero and a pitching showdown light up Toronto. The Blue Jays split their deadline strategy, sending a veteran arm to a rebuilding club while acquiring a high-upside prospect package. One move signals a win-now push for the rotation, the other builds depth for a future playoff push. Fans should watch how the new pieces mesh in spring training. Kevin Gausman headed to Chicago for Ty Southaysene and Brett Bateman, a swap that turns a struggling starter into a depth boost for the Cubs. Though Gausman's ERA plus sits at 102, his experience still offers value, while the Jays gain 2 controllable arms to shape their rotation next year. Toronto edged Houston 3-1 as Alejandro Kirk's second-inning homer provided early momentum. Shane Bieber limited the Astros to a single run over 5.2 innings, surrendering 9 hits and 2 walks. The win keeps the Jays' offense humming and their bullpen fresh heading into the next series.
Visionary, located in the Mares Discovery District downtown, just announced a $10 million Series A round led by BDC Capital. The Toronto-based startup builds computer vision software that helps manufacturers spot defects and optimize production lines in real time. With this fresh capital, the company will expand its product suite, bring on a new wave of engineers, and roll out its technology to factories across North America. The funding not only accelerates Visionary's growth, but also signals the strength of Toronto's AI ecosystem, drawing talent and investors to our streets. Local suppliers and nearby tech labs will also feel the ripple, creating jobs and mentorship opportunities for aspiring coders. It's a reminder that homegrown innovation is the engine driving our city forward. Coming up, we'll explore how Canada's new reactors will depend on imported uranium and why that matters for our energy future. Every day, important stories happen across the city before any news crew arrives. Sometimes the very first person at the story is you. When you witness something newsworthy, open the GMNA Citizen Reporter app and start your report. The app guides you through every step while your report is delivered directly to the GMNA newsroom. Every submission is reviewed by our editorial team, and approved reports may be featured on GMNA. Get the GMNA Citizen Reporter app today at my.gmna.ca. Your city, your news. Toronto's first ever WNBA team returns to the Coca-Cola Coliseum for a high-stakes clash with the Golden State Valkyries, a game that could ignite a citywide fan frenzy. Fans are lining up early, hoping to witness history in the making as the Tempo aim to defend their home court advantage. Carl Dumont is there. Carl Dumont.
Thanks, Jordan Parker. The night air buzzes with the roar of fans spilling out of the Coca-Cola Coliseum, neon signs flickering over the concrete steps as I hover above the downtown arena. The Toronto Tempo's locker room doors swing open, jerseys glinting under the bright overhead lights, while the Golden State Valkyries stride onto the polished hardwood, their sneakers squeaking against the floor. Inside, a sea of teal and purple fills the lower bowl, faces painted, chants rising in a rhythm that matches the thumping bass of the arena's speakers. The scent of popcorn and hot pretzels mingles with the sharp tang of sweat as the referees tap their whistles, signaling the start of tip-off at 10 o'clock tonight. This is more than a game. It's the first chance for a homegrown WNBA franchise to ignite a lasting fan culture in Toronto. The crowd's energy crackles, promising a showdown that could define the city's basketball future. Carl Dumont virtually at Coca-Cola Coliseum.
Welcome back. Ontario's small modular reactor program and similar projects across Canada now require foreign-enriched uranium, a departure from the historically all-Canadian CANDU supply chain. Ainsley Booth has the full story.
Ontario is moving ahead with construction of small modular reactors, and several other provinces have announced plans to follow suit. Unlike the traditional CANDU program, which sourced every component of its fuel domestically, these new projects depend on uranium that must be enriched and fabricated abroad. The change means the supply chain for the upcoming reactors will stretch beyond Canada's borders, a departure from the decades-long policy of keeping nuclear fuel wholly Canadian. Officials say the foreign processing is required to meet the technical specifications of the SMR designs. As the province breaks ground, the broader Canadian nuclear landscape is set to adapt to a more international fuel market. Ainsley Booth, GMNA News, Toronto.
Toronto's sick kids' doctors warn a sharp rise in severe e-scooter injuries among children, with daily cases needing surgery, intensive care, or rehabilitation. Dev Shohri has the full story.
Doctors at Sick Kids Hospital are sounding the alarm as serious injuries from electric scooters among children are climbing sharply. In recent weeks, the pediatric trauma team has seen a surge of youngsters arriving with broken bones, head trauma, and internal injuries that require immediate surgery or admission to intensive care. Many of those cases transition to lengthy rehabilitation programs before they can return to school or sports. Physicians say the rise is tied to the growing popularity of e-scooters and the fact that many riders are under the legal age limit, often lacking helmets or proper supervision. The hospital is urging parents to enforce safety rules and consider alternative transport for kids. Dev Shohri, GMNA News, Toronto.
Thank you, Toronto, for watching the lunch break. Congratulations to our hometown hero Evan Gold on his appointment as GM of the Hamilton Hammers. We'll be back tomorrow with the latest news and the stories that matter most to you. See you then. Stay tuned for more insight and community updates.